But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Canada Day to everyone around the world. It should be a worldwide holiday. This is July 1st. This is episode 127. My name is Everett Delorme. That is Rob Sinclair. And this is the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball content on the internet. I am in beautiful, sunny Toronto. Rob is in I don't know what, Chicago. And we are here to have a day. It is the end of the Volleyball Nations League. VNL is officially done after titillating men's final is going on in Łódź, Poland. Yeah, nice little word for you there. And let's just jump into it. That's the only thing to
Everett, but before we do that, I have a gift for you on Canada Day.
Oh, really?
And
do you know?
I have a short rendition of your own national anthem, just because I think it's appropriate for the holiday.
Okay.
It goes, "Oh, Canada got 3 donged by Japan." Don't worry, we'll get to that later. The Discord has been having a lot of fun with you, Everett. You got you have the shades to block out the haters, right? You ready for it?
I mean, I did say on last week's show that I was either going to be doing a lot of shit talking or I was getting shit talked a lot. And while I didn't answer the Discord, I didn't want to stoke it anymore. I did see I did see some of the comments being thrown out there, and yeah, you know what? If you're gonna dish it, you got to be able to take it. And let's be honest, Japan played very, very well over the course of this past weekend, starting with the quarterfinals against my Canada, who kind of showed up and then kind of didn't. We would go down and then come back, but ultimately Japan was really good this week. But
yes, they were.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it.
Almost top of the podium good, but not quite. Congratulations to Le France. Le Bleu wins their second VNL in 3 years, right? They won in 22, right after their Olympic gold run. And in short, Everett, anybody who claimed that this French team is not an Olympic gold medal contender is crazy. And I believe that craziness has now shown itself in the last week at the VNL finals. Not only did they win the tournament, but they played 14 sets in 3 days in winning the gold medal. 2 5-setters and a 4-setter in the final. They beat Japan in 4. And I am very impressed by France. We have a lot to get to with all of this. I am very impressed by France. They are very much a gold medal contender, no matter what anyone says.
100%. And I mean, they did this without Engapeth and Cheniniese.
Right.
They did that without two their
starters,
best players.
Two Olympic gold medal starters.
2 of their, the MVP and arguably their M1. So you add Cheniniese alongside Le Goff out there, and you bring in Engapeth and Klevno and Tilly on the left side. That team is dirty. That team knows how to turn it on. That team knows how to win in the big stages. They've done it continuously, time and time again, over the past decade or so that this team has come up. They've won world championships. They haven't won world championships. Apologize. They've won European championships.
Yes.
They've won Olympic games, right? They've done it at the club level. This French team knows how to put it together. Now, I mean, it was almost disaster for the French team, right? If you go back to the quarterfinals, going to 5 sets against Italy's B team wasn't exactly in the cards, right? As good as Italy is, I don't think Luca Poro and Gironi and Bovalenta and co should be going to 5 sets against this particular French team. But that just shows the dichotomy within this French team and program overall.
Yeah, that's kind of the magic of it is France, and they were even saying it on the broadcast during the final and throughout the finals, like France will get into a big match by the skin of their teeth, or they'll get into the playoffs just barely by, they definitely have the ability to coast. They definitely have the ability to take their foot off the gas, or maybe have a little too much fun the night before a game. Their reputation for that is well known. But when everything is on the line, and when it is a huge match, when it is a huge moment, like against the number one team in the world, Poland, in Poland in a VNL semifinal deep in a fifth set, this team has it. They have that it factor. You can't teach it. You either have it or you don't. And France has it. And there is no question at all that France is going into Paris, playing the Olympic Games at home with a very legitimate chance to win because they have it. Even if they sleepwalk through a game in pools, that won't scare me, because in a similar but different way to the Zaxa teams from the last couple years, you can never, ever count them out until they are mathematically eliminated.
Rob, you said last week when we talked about the Olympic pools that this is the deepest Olympic tournament ever, and I 100% fully think so.
Yeah,
right?
we'll talk about the pools in a little bit. Yes.
But when you look at the potential teams who could win this thing and the dark horses, like, this is a deep, deep, deep pool, and almost anyone can beat each other. Like that is the big thing when you look at how all of this has played out so far. Almost anyone can beat each other, because when you go down that list, there's a lot of rock paper scissors situations where one team can beat another team and another team can beat another, and like that's exactly what we've seen. Like, Slovenia is Poland's kryptonite. Not this time around, but in general. Whereas Japan is always Slovenia's kryptonite, as we saw tremendously in the semifinals. But if you look at this finals match in particular, this French team, or just this finals run, they really showed their depth. They used Patry, they used Faux, who was huge for them in the semifinals. You had Luati, you had Tsili, you had Clevno. Like, this is a roster that goes deep, and that's going to be huge for them in Paris.
That's exactly the point. And our French fans in the Discord were bringing up this too, like just how important it is that France has a team of, in this case, it was really 14 guys that contributed. And at the Olympics, it's going to be 12. Every single one of those 12 guys can and probably will play a pretty meaningful role. All four outside hitters are world class in certain moments. Like, Yassine Louati was probably the best player in the quarterfinal game against Italy. Then in the final, like, him and Cleveno are both kind of invisible, and it's Kevin Tilly off the bench who's kind of the hero outside hitter wise. And you mentioned the opposites. Like, Patry was unbelievable in the quarters and the final. He wasn't very good in the semis. Teo Four off the bench leads him in scoring on like 50% efficiency. Yeah, exactly. So like, that sort of thing that they can do. And again, they were missing Bartolo Piccinese, and they were missing Irvin Ingapet at full strength. Like, if you don't think that he's going to be ready to start 3 games in pool play at the Olympics and beyond, this France team is scary, and their team ability, just their cohesiveness too. When a guy's not doing it that particular day, the ability to bring people off the bench and get that same level of production is pretty remarkable. And there aren't that many other teams in the world who have that, to me. Even Poland, who we'll certainly talk about. Even Poland, it feels different to me in the way that they go to the bench versus the way that France does it. Is that crazy?
France has always had that attitude, right? They like having their backs against the wall, which I honestly think might be part of the thing, that it might be a little bit of a disadvantage to them to play in Paris, right? And to play at home. And
I do agree with that,
because they like having that chip on their shoulder, and they like being able to go out there and kind of be the villains. And I absolutely, what was it? The last time they won the World League Finals, or was it last year? Yeah, the last time they won the Nations League Finals, and they were
2 years ago.
They were complaining about the training situation in Italy and what they were, right? And they were out there complaining about it, and then they did that whole walkout. Like, this is a team that loves the drama, and they love the kind of the edge of it all. And we saw it here again.
They're also insanely high skill, which is why it was a really fun matchup in the final. Japan is insanely high skill as well. This is just really fun, like, visibly beautiful volleyball to watch. Japan is more on like the technical end of the super skilled, and Japan is more on like the artistic end of the super skilled. But the skill is the same. However, I was really impressed by how France did not oversimplify the matchup. They set the ball straight over the top of Masahiro Sakita literally every time he was blocking in the front court. Yeah. And I like that. Don't oversimplify it. You have attackers that can make that right side blocker invisible, and it's a problem for Japan that we can talk about in a minute, because Nishida and Miura aren't much better, but their right side blocking situation is a big problem. France exploited that phenomenally well, and they put the right amount of pressure on Tatsunori Otsuka, who is stepping in for Ran Takahashi at outside hitter. They made him handle the ball as much as possible. Clearly the lead on Japan in reception attempts. That's good coaching. That's good game plan execution.
Yeah, I mean, Otsuka clearly blew his load against Canada and wasn't able to recalibrate all that quickly because he was fantastic against us.
Yeah, he was.
And then just kind of average the rest of the time. But for me, I really kind of want to talk about Yuki Ishikawa. Honestly, Rob, I almost kind of wanted a Stanley Cup Connor McDavid situation where we gave the MVP to the losing player because I thought Ishikawa was that good consistently throughout all 3 matches. Right, I thought that he was the best player consistently throughout all 3 days of the finals, and like really led his team well. Like once again, 17 points in this final, 17 for 37. Like they were just feeding him the ball. And like once again, he kind of destroyed us. He kind of destroyed Canada in that quarterfinals. He
destroyed Slovenia too.
Yeah, he destroyed Slovenia as well. Like he was consistently outstanding throughout all of this. He was consistently their best player. I will bring it up just for a little Rand slander because why not? That I had a lot of you people telling me that Rand was better than Yuki Ishikawa. I'm sorry. In what world do you live in? In what world do you live in? Once again, another team doing well without Rand. I don't think it's a coincidence. But, no, I'm completely joking. That was just but no, seriously, like Japan played really well against us. We played well at times, and then like hot garbage at other times. Probably one of our least consistent outings of the entire VNL summer. But guess what? Like, if you had told me that we would have qualified for the finals the way we did this year at the beginning of the year, I would have been happy with it. So I was pretty happy with it. And got to see the boys in the finals. It was really great. I just wish it would have been a little better performance from Canada.
Right. We'll talk. I want to talk about that match in a minute, but we do need to keep praising Japan because this is a silver medal at the VNL. This is their best placement ever in a major tournament. They have broken the tie with Canada in meaningful medals. Everett, you can't use that bullet point anymore. Silver, and they earned it. Japan's really good. They consistently beat Slovenia every time they play them. You mentioned that kryptonite matchup for sure. They weren't good enough against France. I think that's a very difficult matchup for Japan. I don't see them beating France very much, especially in a match that matters.
Japan does really poorly against the skilled teams.
Yes, they do.
Right? Like, because they are the ultimate skill team, but against teams like Italy and France who have that good touch, even Argentina can cause them some problems. And I really only think that at this point, like only Poland has the physical power to just go OT and overpower them. Any other team, they can kind of, and maybe the U.S. when they're playing well.
I think kind of the United States does too.
But you guys are a wild card right now. You guys are 50% at best. So you need to win some meaningful games in 2024 to get on that card.
Fair enough. I guess we'll see about that. I will push back on the Connor McDavid-ness of Yuki Ishikawa in the context of this tournament because he got roofed 8 times in the final. Out of 11 France stuff blocks, 8 of them were on Yuki Ishikawa. They had him down.
What were you going to expect from him? Nishida was
terrific. Right. He was terrific. 47% efficiency. I'm honestly not exactly sure why he got the yank. He wasn't very productive from the service line, but attacking wise, Yuji Nishida was not the problem. France did just such a fantastic job in putting pressure on Otsuka and forcing the ball Ishikawa's way. I think without Ran Takahashi there, Japan becomes a little more one-dimensional, and Ishikawa is a good enough player to almost carry a team, but keyword almost. 8 stuff blocks is a lot, and to get blocked 8 times as an attacker in one match in 4 sets, that's a lot. You're getting downloaded at that point.
But that just to me, like a lot of those situations, Rob, were just out of system high ball situations where he's just up against a really big block, especially when you got Brizard out there for France. Like no matter the rotation and no matter what you got going on out there, that is a matchup nightmare out of system for Ishikawa.
Yeah, I
right?
thought Nicolas Legoff had a phenomenal match in the final. He only got credited for 3 blocks. I don't know about
Yeah.
that. I think he had way more than 3 blocks. A couple of them were like career enders too. He got Ishikawa on a really big one when he was on the right side in row 1, just like straight through the floorboards. Yeah, anchoring triple blocks was big. And one thing about Japan that I was a little surprised by was the relatively poor reception by their standards. 18% perfect, 38% positive. Now, Japan's not a dominating team through the middle in general, and honestly, kind of neither is France without Shinonese. Neither of them are going to run the ball, run the offense through the middle that much. But let's see, 9 attempts for Kentaro and 9 attempts for Onodera, like 18 in 4 sets, I would say is not enough.
But I once again, I do think it's a bit of a matchup nightmare for Japan in the middle, especially with Legoff there, because he can read block, he's quick, he has that skill, and he's also a monster, right? He's gonna eat them
It's
for
huge.
he's gonna eat them for breakfast. And as you said, like the passing wasn't good enough for that's to me, that's really where they missed Ran Takahashi. Because Otsuka out there passing 30% positive and only 17% perfect is really what brought down that average. Even you looking at Ishikawa, 50 and 28. You add Ran there, you're going to add that up a couple more points. And now Ran isn't great in out of system. I will stand by that. He is fantastic in system. So you bring those numbers up. You get him dishing on that first tempo offense, like they're able to, and that really opens some things up for Japan. And France was really able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, they were
in this matchup.
I don't think that France was very good from the baseline either. I mean, 2 aces, 20 service errors is not a good ratio at all. And I mean, that second set, I'd say a lot of the reason that Japan won that set is because France they were stuck in neutral from missing too many serves. It's kind of like Cleveno got benched at the end of the day because he was float serving the ball 15 feet out of bounds. So, and I think that will only improve as we get closer to the Olympics and as the reigning MVP Irvin Ingapet gets back into the mix a little bit. But Japan is very good. However, Japan has weaknesses that are too easily exploitable by superior teams for me to consider them an Olympic gold medal threat. I think that their ceiling at the Olympics is bronze. I think they could get a good draw in the quarterfinal round and win a game and have a chance to win a bronze medal. But once you get to that point in the Olympics, like the Olympic semifinals, if they're able to get there, there are too many other really good teams that have the tools to take advantage of Japan's weaknesses. And Masahiro Sakita blocking on the right side is a huge problem. It's a huge problem. Their right side block in general is a huge problem. Yuji Nishida is non-existent as a right side blocker. France is a relatively good sized team on the left side. They were abusing that mismatch. Any other team at the Olympic semifinal round is going to do the same thing. Same thing with just the fact that Japan's middles, who I have been impressed by in the blocking game this summer, aren't factors offensively. There are these limitations just by Japan's identity that I think put a ceiling on them for the Olympic Games. They're still really good. They deserve the silver medal. Can they win a gold medal at the Olympics? I would say no. I really don't think so.
It would be a stretch. It would be a massive stretch to expect Japan to step up and be a gold medal winning team when they've never done that, right? It would take an incredible run, and I just think that this Olympic field is
it's too good. It's too good.
Is way too deep. However, once again, this Olympics is going to be gross. This Olympics is going to be nasty. And I think Japan is gonna make it very interesting. Very interesting.
They absolutely will. Like that, I would be shocked if they didn't make it out of their pool. I'd be shocked if they didn't give a team a damn good game in the quarterfinal, if not maybe even win it. But when we get to the medal rounds, I think that they have too many exploitable weaknesses by other elite teams.
I do have a bit of a wet dream where Canada and Japan play each other in the quarterfinals of the Olympics.
Honestly, that's not impossible.
Not impossible. Not impossible. Because Japan's in the USA's pool, right?
Correct.
With Egypt? No.
We have Argentina and Germany. We'll talk about the Olympic pools in a little bit. Let's talk about Poland, because Poland, the first time since the 2022 World Championship final, they played a meaningful match at home and they lost. They got beat 18-16 in the fifth in the semis by France. They then responded to completely destroy Slovenia to win the bronze medal. Good for Poland. Good job. You get hardware at home. Crowd was amazing as usual. No surprise there. Everett, what do we think about this Polish team? Did they get any closer to figuring out their Olympians? Did they get any closer to figuring out their roles, who their starting lineup is? Like, we got to break down this team a little bit here because we were here. I think we heard from Nikola Grbic via the Discord that they're going to wait until the last possible moment to name the Olympians.
Much like on the women's side, Rob, where I came into this season knowing that Turkey was the undisputed number one team in the world, I came into this men's season knowing that Poland was the undisputed men's team in the world. And much like on the women's side, I have no idea who that is anymore.
Yep.
Now, you can go out there and say that, like, oh, Poland was missing Śliwka, like, that's a massive hole. And yeah, sure it is. But, like, bro, this lineup should not be losing to France in a semifinal without Engapeth and Chinanyeze. That to me is how it is, right?
Even though they chose, for some reason, they chose to rest Bartosz Kurek and to rest Paweł Zatorsky. Now, I do think that Popivchak is just as good at the libero spot, but they chose to give Bartosz Kurek that game off.
Yeah, but I'm still not convinced Kurek is the guy for the job.
Oh, he is. He for sure is. I think he's substantially better than Bołądź and Kaczmarek.
Fair enough, but I'm not entirely sold by it. To be perfectly honest, but when you look at this team, I think Leon was, like you aptly said it in a chat that we were in, Rob, that Leon looked like the best player in the world in the quarters and in the bronze medal match, and was
awful in the semis.
awful in the semis. But they were awful as a team, right? They were awful as a team. Fornal was painfully average.
So here's the thing. Fornal was not painfully average. He went 10 for 18 on 50% efficiency. What are we doing giving Norbert Huber a middle? More attempts in 5 sets than the previous season's MVP of the Plusliga. How is Tomasz Fornal starting 5 sets and getting 18 attempps? But that can't happen.
They just seemed off as a team in this one. They just seemed off like a team, and they were just really on that Norbert Huber train. And then he didn't even play in the bronze medal match. So there is so many questions for me. The fact that Śliwka must be still getting back from health and injury. Otherwise, why wouldn't you have him there? But why are you still at the point of having 3 opposites? Right?
Yeah,
that one should have been made a long time ago. A long time ago. There's no reason for you to be rocking 3 opposites into the VNL playoffs and into the VNL finals like this. Shave it down to 2. Make that decision. I have no idea what Grbic is scared of. You know what I think he's scared of? I think he's scared of cutting Bartosz Kurek. I think that's what he's scared of.
I don't think there's any way that happens. I would be stunned if he thought Kurek was the 3rd best opposite in the country, behind Bołądź and Kaczmarek. Man, that now we've been saying this whole cycle, he has the hardest decisions to make out of probably any other coach in the world. He has a deeper team than probably any other team in the world, and those decisions are going to be very hard to make. The thing, though, is, did Poland, through this VNL final, did they get any closer to having clarity at those positions? I don't really think they did. Like you said, they played 3 opposites in 3 matches in the final. I don't understand why they did that. What were they trying to gain from that? The only thing that I think they know is who their 3 middles are. I think it's Huber, Kochanowski, and Biniak. I don't even know who the 2 starters are amongst those 3, but at least they know who they are.
Yeah.
And obviously Janusz is a starting setter. There's no question about that. But then the other thing, if you're going to cycle in all 3 opposites, why don't you cycle in more outside hitters? Leon and Fornal started all 3 matches.
Yeah.
And like we said, Leon, unbelievable in matches 1 and 3 and terrible in match number 2. You saw a little bit of Bednar's. Okay. Barely saw Kamil Semeniu. Came off the bench, I think in the France game, got ace twice and went right back to the bench. I don't get the plan by Grbic of what he was trying to learn about his team, because if you're going to rest your best opposite, in my opinion, if you're going to rest Bartosz Kurek for a semifinal against a really good team, then that to me means that he's just trying to learn about what he has. And then there's the part, it's the exact opposite of what the United States has done. Is the emotional effect of naming the Olympic team as late as possible going to hurt Poland compared to the US just getting it out of the way as early as possible to take that emotional load off the players' shoulders of trying to realize their dreams of representing their country at the Olympics? Plus, like they have what, 2 weeks of training, maybe 3 before Paris,
Not a lot.
and you're not even going to name the Olympic team until the last possible second. I think Poland comes out of this with more questions than answers. I really do.
Way more questions than answers. Way more questions than answers. By the way, Rob, Bolanj is the only Polish opposite to score over 20 points throughout this VNL this year. Kurek's high is 15. Kaczmarek's high is 11.
Wow.
Yeah. So interesting things going on in that Polish camp right now. But you got to have faith that they're gonna be able to figure it out. I think on talent alone, like on paper, this team can be the number one. But is this team as tight as the French team? I don't think so.
I doubt it. Yeah.
Do they have that ability to turn it on and be scrappy like in Argentina? I'm not entirely sure. Like there's certain X factors, there's certain mental and just emotional X factors, Rob, that this team is missing right now.
I agree.
And I don't know where they go and get that from.
The thing that is going to get in Poland's way of winning gold medal at this Olympic Games is Poland themselves, because they just the last couple of years I was very convinced by Poland last year as they won VNL, they won Euros, they went 7-0 Olympic qualifiers, because there seemed to be that buy-in of all of their guys just trusting the process of who was going to play where and when and getting the most out of it at every given moment, because they're so damn talented. Mm-hmm. But the Olympics is a different beast. It is a different beast when it comes to realizing the individual dream of representing your country at the Olympics and everything that comes with that. Plus, you got to remember the pressure on Poland to perform at the Olympics from all of the internal sources within Polish volleyball borders. Like it's a side effect that comes with being such a great volleyball country. Is so many people care that the pressure to perform on Poland at this Olympics is
way higher. Is the highest.
It's the highest in the world. It has to be. It has
to be the highest in the world. But let's be honest. If Japan's fans knew anything about actual volleyball, then they might have the most amount of pressure. But they're still figuring out that the ball goes over the net and down to score. But yeah, there's the most pressure in the world for Poland right now, and there's no doubt about it. And
whenever they announce that Olympic roster, we will have a lot to talk about. That is one of the most interesting teams, maybe the most interesting team as far as.
Not to mention, Rob, we haven't even mentioned the fact that Slovenia will be at this Olympics. Like the number one kryptonite and the number one banana peel to slip on for Poland is Slovenia.
I'll give it to Poland. They've beaten Slovenia in the last 2 meaningful matches. I think Eurovolley semi last year, maybe, and then this bronze medal game. So they might be over that hump, but the history is quite clear on that one. Speaking of Slovenia, Everett, they took 4th. They beat a very good Argentinian team in a great 5-setter in the quarterfinals. They had a very difficult schedule. They had to play 3 matches in 3 days, and they got donged by Japan, and they got completely destroyed by Poland for bronze. My question to you is Slovenia a threat at the Olympics after the great VNL that they had, but then coming up short when it mattered in the final? Are they a threat to you at the Olympics, or are they still just like a team begging to be relevant?
Oh no, they're way more than relevant. Way more than relevant. This is a veteran team who knows how to win, who knows how to beat the best teams in the world, who's done it in the past, has made it to European Championship finals, has made it right to world, like like European Championship finals, has made it to World Championship bronze medal matches, has now qualified for the Olympics, has a veteran presence and one of the best young stars in the game. How can you not take Slovenia for real? They just were consistently the best team throughout the VNL. Right, we're going to do our report cards in a couple of days, and I'm going to give Slovenia a really high grade because I think they did a great job. This is a team that could beat any team in the world, except for maybe Japan. But this is a team that could beat any team in the world, and they know that. They know that, and they're confident about that. So absolutely, can I see Slovenia go on a bit of a dream run? Right, the Olympics are the Olympics. Anything can happen at the Olympics. Right.
That's the thing. Slovenia can beat any team in the world except for maybe Japan because of the matchup. But Slovenia is very good for all the reasons, like you said. Can Slovenia beat any team in the world in an Olympic elimination game?
Maybe.
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't think so. I don't think they have it. I don't think they have it like the other great contending teams do, or they don't have it like France does, and they don't have the absolutely superior talent like the teams that I would say are ranked above them. I still am not totally convinced about Slovenia's ability when all the pressure in the world is on them. Remember the World Championship 2 years ago, they had the easiest bracket road humanly possible. They got to the semifinals and went 0-2 and took fourth. Their Eurovolley has been their tournament when they have captured magic, but have they ever won that game? Not really. They've won great games to get to that game, being the final a few different times, and they've come up short. It's their first Olympic Games. They deserve to be at the Olympic Games. There's no question about that. They should absolutely make it out of pools. They are in Canada's pool, by the way, as you obviously know.
Oh, I know. But I'm well aware. Okay, buddy.
Is Slovenia? Do I have faith? And I'm not even like. I'm just talking about. Do I feel faith in Slovenia in an Olympic elimination game? No, I don't.
No, I don't either. But I can see them winning. No, that's the. So here's. We're getting too much into this. We'll, at another time we'll talk about. I think unless you want to get into it now, because I've been thinking about this. Like, I think there's different tiers of contenders at the Olympics.
I think let's talk about the rest of VNL, and then when we talk about Olympic pools, I do want to quickly break down those lists because I think it's important. But for the rest of the VNL perspective, just to shout out the teams that were in the quarterfinal. Brazil, I have nothing.
They won a set.
They won a set.
More than us.
Italy's B team, good showing.
Good showing. Luca Porra, I like you.
He's good. Yeah, he's good. Argentina, pretty good showing. Still a little bit head scratching, especially the way they lost that fifth, 15-7 was not pretty. But I mean, they led 2-1, and I think they can take some confidence away from that. But Argentina still kind of confuses me a little bit, and we can talk about where we evaluate them in the context of the Olympics. But Everett, we got to talk about Canada a little bit more. We got to talk about that Canada game a little bit more. And unfortunately, the Discord has put out a missing persons notice.
Okay, I was working, people. Like, unfortunately, with my job currently situation, I don't have a lot of time to spend on the Discord at the moment. And it's also kind of a hostile place for me at the moment, so I stay away. But yeah, you know what, Rob? It was. I had just watched the women play one of the toughest matches to watch in my life, and then this one was also one of the toughest, like most frustrating matches to watch for me because I knew what was coming on the other end of it. Like I knew that I had talked enough shit that if we didn't win or at least played decent, like. Sorry.
Oh, he's dying. He's trying to escape the haters. Now, there were decent stretches of volleyball.
We had some decent stretches of volleyball, and in those first two sets, we had chances to win. We had chances to take it. We had leads, but then we would just throw it away. Eric Lepke played the worst game I've seen for him play in maybe a calendar year, if not more. He was 6 for 24 with a 4% efficiency.
That was a bummer.
Only 10 points on the match. I thought Arthur was pretty good.
Dude, Arthur was awesome. I think
Arthur was really good. He was 15 for 22 overall. I just felt that he got blocked. His blocks were bad and at bad moments. And that was the biggest thing for me. He only got blocked 3 times, but they were bad where he was just trying to like swing hard down into the middle. And the thing is with Japan's blocking, especially in that match, is that they're really doing a really good job of closing that gap and not leaving it open. And like, I just want to see him, especially if we're playing Japan. I don't give like Arthur shouldn't try to be hit quick balls. Let's just go straight OT all day long. So him and like they were often in times in clutch moments where like the balance of the momentum was really coming into play. But yeah, I felt that we looked tired and the lack of depth that we had really started to show, right? Because Mar had an all right game going 12 for 24 and 33% efficiency. Lepke was bad at 6 and 24. Schwartz was pretty good. He led us with 17 points. But all in all, this game was not a fair representation of Canada throughout the 2024 VNL. And to scratch off one of the bingo boxes. I do think it's better potentially for us because it's really hard to beat a team twice in a summer, like twice in a tournament, right? And I've always said this, and I fully believe it. And from years and years of running tournaments, if two teams who are very similar and close play each other in pool play, and then later on in the tournament, the team who lost in pool play will often win later on in the tournament. So I'm keeping that as a potential quarterfinal matchup with Japan at the Olympics. So yeah, I do think that that is actually better for us to kind of throw in the towel and like make them feel superior, right? Like Japan's now going to go into this Olympic Games really, really on their high horses, really puffing that chest out heavy. And we're just going to be able to kind of sneak in just with like a workman approach, just those like third and fourth line grinders, pucks in deep, bodies on the boards, and then get a dub.
I desperately hope that you two play at the Olympics. I desperately hope that happens. That would be like D-Day for the Discord. That would be amazing.
That would be a lot of fun.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, you in the chat, if it isn't incredibly obvious that Everett's joking about that, then figure it out. Yeah, so that
I don't think they know that. Like, looking at the chat coming in right now,
figure it out. He's obviously kidding. That's one of the dumbest. That even for Everett, that is an outlandish take.
But in all fairness, Japan was a much better team on that day, and they deserved to win. Right? Ishikawa was amazing. That one like Finn served that big one. I think it was Yamamoto who barely got an arm into it, or they chased it down, and Ishikawa like just made us look like fools. He was the best player on the planet on that day, and I will
26 points in 3 sets is completely insane for an outside hitter at 53% efficiency against a team that is bigger than him. That is remarkable.
Yeah, 100%. Like Ishikawa was on. Like Ishikawa for me this past weekend was like 2023 Milano playoffs Ishikawa.
That's like a very high bar.
Very, 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 very similar vibes to me. So yeah, all the credit goes to Japan. We played shitty because they made us play shitty.
True. That's true at the end of the day. So that is it for the VNL. The thing we have to talk about last, of course, is the Dream Team. This is not a terrible Dream Team, but it's also
great.
It's also not great. So the best setter was Antoine Brizard. The 2 best outside hitters were Yuki Ishikawa and Tomasz Fornal. The best opposite was Jean Patry. The 2 middle blockers were Nikolai Legoff and Jakub Kokhanovsky. And the best libero was Tomohiro Yamamoto. The MVP, though, being Antoine Brizard, reminds me of the 2021 best players in the world list from Volleyball World. That is one of the early memorable moments from this very show. What does my boy Jean Patry have to do to win a major MVP award? What more do you want from the man in the gold medal game? He was literally perfect. He was perfect. 20 for 34 with 1 error, 3 stuff blocks, and an ace.
But he wasn't perfect in the semifinals.
No, he wasn't. He was amazing though in the quarterfinal. He practically single-handedly won France that 4th set. Dropped 28 points on 48% efficiency. Like, if the gold medal game should be weighted the highest, and he was the best player on the court.
I will kind of wonder why Poland all of a sudden got 2 players, why the bronze medalists and silver medalists got 2 players.
Why we know the answer to that? It's because it was in Poland.
The boomers in the trench coats.
Boomers.
The damn boomers got a hold of it again.
Completely inequitable, because on the women's side, the 3rd place team in Poland only got 1. But that's because it wasn't in Poland, and this time it was. Whatever.
I will say, though, Rob, I wasn't opposed. And let's just say potentially if there was people from Volleyball World who were asking us about the dream team, I would have put a certain Wilfredo Leon on the dream team as I would have put Ishikawa. Ishikawa for sure was hands down was for sure hands down the MVP. But like, why is Fornal out there? Leon was their best player in the 2 matches that they won, and even in the match that he stayed on the court and Leon got subbed off, he was painfully average for something like 11 points in 5 sets. So what are we doing throwing Tomas Fornal out there? He's great. Yeah. I did a pop and said that he was playing better than Micheletto earlier this year, and I got a lot of hate for that. And you know what? That was warranted. It was a bit of a pop. But what are we doing? On what world, on what planet was Tomasz Fornal? Like, if you're going to give 2 to Poland, at least give it to the right player.
Yeah. Leon was absolutely amazing in 2 out of the 3 matches. 18 points, 13 for 22, 55% efficiency, 3 blocks and 2 aces in the bronze medal match, and pretty similar against Brazil in the quarterfinals. 18 points, 14 for 26, 2 aces, 2 blocks. I mean, and we already talked about he was bad in the semis. But speaking of guys who were bad in the semis and don't deserve it, what is Kuba Kochanowski doing on this list? He had 5 points in the bronze medal game and didn't play at all until the 5th set of the semifinal. What's up with that?
I was voting for Onodira. Me
too, actually.
I thought it should have been Onodira, Ishikawa, and Yamamoto with Leon. That would have been my vote.
Yep, I agree.
That would have been my vote.
I also could have been swayed about Grubenikov over Yamamoto, but that one's more of a coin flip. But yeah, Kochanowski.
No, fucking Yamamoto was unreal. The plays that he was, his passing
great
was
on defense. Passing was not that good.
His passing was not that good, but he's a game changer, an absolute game changer on defense. Every single time we try to come back, that dumbass would make some type of phenomenal save, and it was just like, what is going on? I'm enjoying this too much while you're beating us.
Yeah, he's a gnarly little defender. So is Grubenikov. That's why I think that could have gone either way. But just somebody in Volleyball World really loves Antoine Brizard, because Jean Patry deserved this MVP, and Wilfredo Leon should have been on the list. And I don't really know which other middle. I mean, Onodera, yeah, but like the 2 teams in the final weren't overwhelmingly impactful in the middle other than the Guff. So that was a hard one to pick, but you got to look at the numbers. Kochanowski had no impact on this final tournament. Not at all.
Huber was huge in the semis, but then he didn't play at all in the bronze.
Right. Weird list. The women's team, the women's dream team was excellent. This one left something to be desired.
I wonder why.
Boomers. All right, Everett. Is there anything else about the Volleyball Nations League that you would like to talk about before we move on? Because it's over.
I don't think so. Can I talk about my jersey?
Yo, please. I'll actually give you. Let me put you full screen here.
So just real quick. This is an actual game worn Team Canada classic Mizuno jersey. You get to see the. If you guys remember from the 2000s, this is what it was.
Oh, that was the pattern. That Mizuno pattern.
It was classic. Helix? Russia had this. USA had this. Like all of the teams had this, and they were sick. So this is a Scott Koski game worn. Oh, my headphones are getting stuck there. I don't know if you can see it, but Scott Koski game worn from the 2006 2006 World Championships Team Canada jersey, and it was signed by the entire team. So yeah, just a nice little shout out to. I've actually got another one in here from that same team, and it's a number 11 Steve Brinkman.
Oh, dude, how
So,
did you get these? These are awesome.
So these actually, my mom got them back in the day from the Volleyball Canada auction. So every year they auction off some of these jerseys. So yeah, both of these jerseys were game worn in the 2006 World Championships, and yeah, they're awesome. I was telling Rob beforehand, this number that you see here is actually felt, right, to help slide on the floor.
Love it.
Yep.
So cool. I'm glad you brought them out for Canada Day. You know what else I'm glad we bring out on every show, Everett?
Daddy.
Oh, it's Daddy. Oh yeah.
Daddy.
Oh, we're so back. We're so back with Daddy Stankovic. I've got his jersey up here behind me. We're back to the normal flow of the show where I get to hide him once a week and y'all got to try and find him. So that's the Where's Daddy segment. Last week I hid Daddy Stankovic, and who else could I have possibly put him with but his own native Serbia, as we celebrated their birth in the Olympics. Well, I don't know about celebrated, but as we acknowledged their birth in the Olympics. If you zoom in a little closer, there's the man himself next to Nikola Jovovic, Daddy Stankovic, with one last little twilight lap for the Serbian national team here on the show. So good job. Our friend Vivian H4851 found Daddy first. Excellent work. Remember that if you spot Daddy Stankovic on this show, your job is to note the timestamp of where he is, wait until the YouTube live stream is over, and put in the main comment section that timestamp of where you found Daddy. If you're the first one or one of the first couple to do that, you will receive a shout out on our next show, which, by the way, will be 2 weeks from now. We will not be doing a show next week, just a programming note.
Yes, Rob will be on a cruise.
I will, yeah, kind of randomly, but I will be on a large boat, and you might be somewhere as well. We'll see.
I may be. We will see. We will see. If you were some of the lucky few to catch our Easter egg last week at the beginning of the show that is now deleted, you may know what we're talking about.
So yeah, keep an eye. Oops.
we never have any technical difficulties. None whatsoever.
No, never. Yeah, keep an eye out for Daddy. He's the best. I saw Modena posted a photo of a camp that their team was doing today, and Daddy was in the foreground, and just made me happy. All right, Everett. Serbian. Yeah, they all look Serbian. Yeah, I wonder why.
Apparently, you look Serbian.
I don't look Serbian. I'm not Serbian, as far as I know. I've got a lot of European blood, but I don't think Serbia is one of them. There's Daddy. Oh, he's beautiful. All right, Everett. It's time. It's time to talk about the Olympic pools. They were drawn last week on Wednesday, I believe. And these pools for the men's Olympic Games are so good.
They rock.
They are so good. I'll read them down for our audio listeners. Pool A is France, Slovenia, Canada, and Serbia. Pool B is Poland, Italy, Brazil, and Egypt. Pool C is Japan, the United States, Argentina, and Germany. What do you think about the draw? Because it's Canada Day. What do you think about Canada's draw? What do you think about what you got there in Pool A?
Well, I actually don't mind this in Pool A. I think for us, despite recent results, both Slovenia and Serbia are beatable teams. Not that France isn't either, but let's be honest, France is going to be a bit of a hard out. Playing at home and stuff like that, like it's going to be tough to play against them. So I'm going to start putting some calls in now and make sure we can get some parties rolling in Paris or something the night before Canada plays France. And, we'll see if we can, I think I know some of the French team's proclivities, and I think we're going to be able to use that to our advantage. So yeah, I think I actually like this pool for us. It has the least amount of like big time threats, I think. Right? Both all like if we're going to talk about tiers of this tournament, I think there's an A tier that contains the best potential teams, and that's Poland, USA, France, and Italy in no particular order. And then you're going to have a second tier of the somewhat dark horses, where you're going to have Argentina, Slovenia, and Japan, and then a third tier, and Brazil as well, and then another tier with like Germany and Canada and Serbia. I would say Egypt's going to be in their own tier. Sorry.
Yeah, they are.
Brazil is still Brazil. Brazil is Brazil. They're still coached by Bernardinho. They still have Bruno. They are still Brazil. I am not going to throw Brazil down into the same category as us until they start losing on a consistent basis, and it has not happened yet. Rob, we have doubted Brazil time and time and time again, and every time they have made us look like fools, and I refuse to let them do it again.
That is your choice. I am going to doubt Brazil. This Brazilian team scares nobody. They have absolutely no chance to beat Poland or Italy. They will get the win over Egypt, but they are going to have a difficult time advancing because the way that it works is you have to take top 2 in your pool, or you take the 3 teams that finish third, and the top 2 of those 3 also advance. There's going to be enough chaos in pools A and C that I think the only way Brazil makes it out is if they steal at the very least a point, if not a match, from Poland or Italy.
I think they need to steal a match.
I don't.
Right?
I think they do too, and I don't see it.
No.
Like there's no way that Poland or Italy in an Olympic context with their talent, unless they choke in epic fashion, loses to this Brazilian team. In my opinion,
it's going to take a lot for either Italy or Poland to lose to Brazil, but weirder things have happened, right? That's like there's so many things up in the air. I think when you look at it, pool A and C are toss-ups. Like pool C is, oh my goodness.
Pool C is sick.
Argentina, with the way they know how they can turn it on, Grozier in his last breath, USA, we don't have no idea what to expect from them. They could be a gold medal contender, or they could be out in pool play. And Japan has the lowest floor in all of volleyball right now.
Highest floor, maybe a lower.
Sorry. Apologies. Highest floor in all of volleyball right now.
Yeah, they do. That's again, I think that plays against Brazil's chances to make it out, because there's going to be so much competition in pools A and C. But I kind of agree with you from a Canadian perspective for pool A. I like that draw. I think Slovenia and Serbia are both super beatable. But Serbia, like, I mean, I in particular, we were really hard on Serbia last week when they qualified. Serbia is good enough to steal a game and to play spoiler in pool play. Are they going to be relevant? Like, will they make the quarterfinals? I don't think so. If they do, will they win a quarterfinal game? Absolutely not. But they're good enough to play spoiler. And they're going to be a kind of a good measuring stick for the rest of the other teams in that pool. And it'll be important for tiebreakers is what do France, Slovenia, and Canada, who I think the 3 of them all will make it out of this pool. What do the 3 of them do against Serbia when they play them? Do they all take 3 points? Do any of them drop a set or multiple sets? We'll see. Because there's only 3 matches per team in pool play compared to 5 of all Olympics past, like, it's going to get really, really granular for tiebreakers. Every set, every point is going to be massively important.
I like
massive.
That. Granular.
I
know. I like that. I'm saying that's a good word. Yeah, it is. And as you've said before, some teams are going to have a day or maybe even 2 off in between games.
Exactly.
So that's gonna play to a team like Canada's benefit, right? That's going to
the U.S.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Old man Anderson is going to need some time off. We saw that for sure through the VNL. Matt, if you see this, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you old. We love you. Yeah, like this Olympics is the most intriguing. Every pool has storylines. Every pool has storylines. I almost said every stool has poor lines, but yeah, like every pool has storylines here, and there's no clear-cut winners. I don't even know if there's a clear-cut pool of death. Although if I were have to name one, I would have to name Pool C.
I probably would too. It would be Pool B if it weren't for Egypt, because again, Egypt is a perfectly respectable competitor out of Africa, but just how good this field is, they are absolutely not going to win a match. Pool C is really fascinating. It is really fascinating.
No team is. If you can make it out 3-0 out of Pool C,
I would be stunned if a team did that. I think the only the team that has the best chance to do that is the United States.
Yes, I fully think that as well.
I like our matchup. I know, dude. That's the crazy part.
Germany has kind of played this the most fun, as we're like, you don't know what we look like.
We have no idea.
You don't know what we've looked like. We've played one match with Grosjean. We've played one match with him. Try to scout us now, bitches.
It's crazy. It's so the people in the chat are talking about what's the pool of death. I agree, there kind of isn't one. Everyone online that's saying pool B is looking at the Brazilian flag and they're scared because of the Brazilian flag. This Brazilian team is not that Brazil. They're not. And I this is going to be like my take that I'm going to put my flag in the ground on this one for the Olympics and say that Brazil is not going to make it out of pools. They're not.
Kind of agree.
This Brazilian team is not good enough to make it out of this particular pool. They're going to beat Egypt. They're not going to beat Italy and Poland, and it's going to come down to tiebreaker math, and I don't like the way it shakes out for Brazil.
I think the 4 teams eliminated at the end of pool play are going to be Serbia, Brazil, Egypt, and Argentina.
Ooh, I could kind of see that too, pool C wise, because like Grosjean's going to pop off and win Germany bare minimum one game,
at least one game,
and that's the fun part about all the pool C matchups is like Japan is super good, but the 3 teams that Japan has in this pool are hard outs for the Japanese matchup.
Yeah.
Do you think that Japan has a chance to slow down Grosjean?
Not a chance.
Absolutely not. He's going to do ridiculous things against that team.
Not a chance at all in the slightest. So we're going to need to go in depth, and we're going to do that leading up to the Olympics. We're going to go in depth pool by pool. I almost think, Rob, that we should do a show an episode per pool.
Ooh, I kind of like that. Maybe once all the rosters come out.
Yeah. And then we can look at the schedule per pool.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. We'll be doing that all in the next few weeks once a little bit more information comes out. But speaking of information, speaking of Germany,
this U40 USA is so volatile. There,
U40. Hey, teams are now starting to finally roll out some of their Olympic rosters. We got a couple more this week. The German men are one that came out, I think, yesterday, maybe the day before. And speaking of the legendary old man Grosjean himself, he is the only true opposite on the roster. Germany's bringing only one opposite. Here's the list. This is a number order by position. The 2 setters are Lucas Kampa and Johannes Thiele. The one opposite is Grosjean. The 5 outside hitters are Christian Fromm, Moritz Karlitzek, Moritz Reichert, Ruben Schott, and Tobias Brand. The 3 middle blockers are Anton Brema, Lucas Massa, and Tobias Crick. The 1 libero is Julian Zenger. The alternate is Jan Zimmerman, who's the 3rd setter. Meh. Whatever. Hopefully the alternate pick won't matter. Everett, what do you think about 5 outside hitters for Germany? Are you about this?
I like it. Weber is not good enough to be on this roster.
I agree.
And I think that they're better just going a 3 outside hitter system. I think Tobias Brand for them has been a breath of fresh air and really just adds another dynamic aspect to that offense. Like, this is going to be a really hard team to get out. They're a boulder, right? This team is a boulder. Like Julian Zenger is a top-notch libero, and he's going to be a real hard out. You've got Johannes Thiele, who is in my respects might be one of the most underrated setters in the game that we have right now.
Agree.
Like, we've seen him put teams on skates. We've seen him make teams look absolutely silly, and he hasn't
Canada
really had
in Ottawa last year.
That's exactly what I'm
Yes,
what I'm thinking about. We dominated them in that first set. They're like, "Yep, Tula, come in," and then it was just like they might as well have taken out the sport court because it was back to the ice there in TD Place. And yeah, so like I think that this is a very, very hard team out. You know what? You want to talk about another team that has the potential to go all the way to the final and has the potential to be a dark horse and spoil everyone's show. It is this German
Germany.
Team.
Yeah.
Look what they did at the Olympic qualifying tournament last year. They ran through that pool, and they ran through a damn good pool that had Italy, Brazil, and Cuba in it, right? And no one has any video on them. No one knows how to scout them. And Grosjean's just been sitting back, drinking pina coladas, and getting ready to go. I think this is a dangerous-ass German team. And I love the fact that this is the roster that I would have picked as well, 100%. The only thing that I hate about it is that they couldn't find someone else to replace Tobias Crick in the middle because the TikToks are going to be insane.
Yeah, they're going to be insufferable.
How many? We need to set an over-under on how many TikToks he's going to make about the opening ceremonies alone.
Oh, boy. Yeah, everyone get ready. Now, here's the thing about Germany, and everybody kind of knows this who saw them play at Olympic qualifiers, but this is a one-man team at the end of the day. It's but that one man is so dominant and has dominated in such a way very recently in the Olympic qualifiers tournament that I would not put it past Germany to have an unbelievable run at the Olympics. But there's still a one-man team. Without Grozer, they are a complete non-factor, and if he doesn't play well, they will not make it out of this pool.
They are a one-man team in that respect, but they aren't a one-man team in the way that they play, right? Grozer is supported up by everyone else on that team. They're like the 2019 Toronto Raptors, right? You've got solid role players everywhere who are able to play the game, and then you have that one fantastic guy who's just able to be, he's going to be your 3-hole punch, right through it.
Yeah, but the one-man domination in terms of point production is exclusively Grozer. He's the guy that scores.
Yeah.
And if without him, I mean, that's why they brought five outside hitters, one of them being Moritz Karlitzek, because he can play on the right side. And Winiarski even said that, but that is emergency case. This is Grozer's team, and he will be the guy. He will be the scorer, and Germany's success at the Olympics completely depends on him. That's okay, because he's that good, and he has shown us how good he is in last year's Olympic qualifier. But he honestly not only is just a hinge point for Germany. The way that Georg Grozer plays this tournament will affect the entire Olympics. The way that this 139-year-old man plays this tournament will have huge effects on the entire Olympic Games, and that is incredibly interesting as a fan and as a storyteller. It is a little bit annoying for me being in his pool, but I do like the way that the United States is built to try and at least contain him. Maybe. I think we have the best chance to contain him compared to Argentina and Japan. I'll say that much.
All right, fair enough. I'll give you that much, but it's going to be a tough road for anyone in this pool, and I think that includes the United States.
I agree. So that's Germany. That's their team. Two other teams that have announced their Olympic rosters. One was the Chinese women that came out, I believe, last night. As far as depth pieces for the Chinese women, I don't know that much about a lot of these individual players, but I don't think there are any surprises here. I mean, Zhu Ting is back in the mix, of course. Her and Li Yingying, I think, and Zhang Changning, who played a lot this VNL. I mean, they're a great crew at outside hitters. Jiao Linyu is the setter. Wang and Yuan will be the two middles. They have the one libero. I mean, China is China. I don't think there are any huge surprises here. I apologize for not knowing more about the depth of their program to know if there are any surprises. So if you do know that in the chat, let me know. But we do have the Chinese women's team. It's good to see Zhu Ting back. She belongs there. What kind of a role is she going to play is a different question, one that I'm curious about.
Yeah, very much so. I think she has to come off the bench. The way that they have played so far without her. As a starter, I fully think she can come off the bench. But this Chinese team is another dark horse team, Rob. This is another team that could come in and spoil some things. And if they get themselves into a championship position, it could be possible.
That man, women's Olympics is so crazy wide open. Another team that announced their Olympic roster is the Japanese women. Not a lot of huge surprises here. Well, a couple, like maybe not surprises, but just interesting choices. Japan doesn't have like a truly defined opposite position in the super traditional sense. They just kind of have 5 wings. Mm-hmm. So that's what they've taken in Wada, Koga, Ishikawa, Inoue, and Hayashi. The 2 setters are who we expected in Iwasaki and Seki. The middles are pretty much who we expected in Yamada, Airi, and Araki. What I am interested by is I think this is the only team in the Olympics on either side who we're likely to see take 2 true liberos in Manami Kojima and Satomi Fukudome. What is also interesting is that their alternate player is also a libero in Yamagishi. So that one I really don't get.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's like a vibes pick, like a locker room pick. I think they must really value her presence in the locker room, because her on-court utility as like a third libero, just like kind of non-existent.
Okay, yeah, that's weird. That is weird. A weird choice. Weird.
Our buddy Kenny Diaper from the Discord sent me a bunch of info today and was clowning on Manabe, as he loves to do, about that decision. But I mean, at the end of the day, the plan is for the alternate player not to matter.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't need him or her. That's kind of the point.
Okay. All right then. Interesting choices out here by Japan.
Yeah. Well, okay. Good. The alternate libero is puzzling even for diehard Japanese fans. That's good because I'm very confused by that too. Anything else about these 3 new teams that have announced their Olympians, Everett?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
All right. Last but not least, is there actually is more volleyball to watch this week. If you are a bit of a sicko and really care enough, especially if you're in our part of the world, to wake up at 2 a.m. and watch the FIVB Volleyball Challenger Cup.
You would have to be a real sicko.
You'd have to be a real sicko.
You're gonna have to be a real sicko to want to get up.
Yeah, so I will not be doing that. I can tell you all right now, but we will at least acknowledge the fact that going down this week from July 4th to the 7th, Men's Challenger Cup in Linyi, China, China versus Mexico, Belgium versus Croatia, Ukraine versus Chile, and Egypt versus Qatar. One of those teams is going to win this tournament and get promoted to next year's VNL. Remember, next year's VNL will be 18 teams, like the 16 from this year, plus the winner of these tournaments, plus the next highest ranked team in the world who's not already in. I don't know as of what date, but that's the deal for next year's VNL. So this does matter a little bit, even though I probably will not watch it very much. Everett, do you have a pick? Who do you think is going to win this Challenger Cup? There's something at the wall.
Ukraine. I'm looking at my stats computer. But no, I think Ukraine.
Okay, I'll go with Belgium. Just because of the run they made at Olympic quals last year, but they probably have the toughest first round matchup in Croatia because Dirlic is good.
Yes.
But
I do like Belgium.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Also, the Women's Challenger Cup, very similar deal, same dates. This one's going down in the Philippines, who just did an awesome job hosting men's VNL. Puerto Rico versus Kenya, Belgium versus Sweden without Isabel Haak. Big asterisk.
Ooh.
Czechia versus Argentina, and the Philippines versus Vietnam. I actually wasn't aware that the Philippines had a women's team that was at this level. That's good for them. I'm happy they get to actually play in a tournament they're hosting.
They're the hosts. That's how they're at this level.
So you're saying they're going to get smoked by Vietnam? And then
no, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
but yeah, Belgium versus Sweden would normally be like must watch, except that Haak or Isabel Haak won't be there. I think Anna Haak will be there. But interesting choice, maybe just to be intentional from Sweden because they did win the Golden League. I'm pretty sure a couple weeks ago.
I think you're right. I think they did win the Golden League. I mean, that's how they're here, right? No, you don't have to necessarily win.
I think you got to take top 2, maybe top 3. Wait, Did somebody just say that no Britt Herbots? Is that true?
No Britt Herbots, no Plotnitsky for Ukraine.
Oh my God, what are we doing? I mean, even the official Challenger Cup website earlier today, or no, I guess it was a week ago, said that Herbots was playing and we're trying to feature her, even though that Isabel Haak won't be there. There's no Herbots, man. This tournament is a snooze fest. I guess like the teams are trying to just hold on to ranking and get to VNL that way.
Yeah, I guess so. That must be the only way.
No Plotnitsky for Ukraine?
No Plotnitsky for Ukraine.
Bomber, dude. Well, I mean, I wasn't planning on watching.
Who is the highest ranked teams right now?
That is a good question. I think it's probably Belgium for the men. No, actually, it's Ukraine for the men. Ukraine is ranked 14th in the world. Belgium is 16th.
Okay.
And on the women's side, it's probably Belgium or Sweden. Come on, load. It is Belgium at 13th. And actually Puerto Rico at 15th, which I'm surprised by.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, like Rob said, we probably won't be watching any of this because none of it matters.
None of it really matters, especially in an Olympic year. We've got way bigger things to talk about. So,
bigger fish to fry, Briz.
Indeed. So we're going to cap off the VNL chapter of the summer tomorrow. We're going to do our men's report cards video tomorrow. I think same time, right? 6 p.m. Eastern?
6 p.m. Eastern. Yes, correct.
Love it. And that'll be the end of our VNL coverage. Then again, no show next week.
None.
We will then be back on Monday, I guess probably Monday the 15th, to start our Olympic coverage in earnest. There's a lot to cover, and hopefully all of the rosters will be out by then.
Hopefully we're looking at you, Poland.
Yeah, Poland, figure it out. Yeah, that's our show. Tune in tomorrow for our report cards video for men's VNL. It was an interesting one last week for the women. Hopefully we'll be similarly engaging for the men's one, just because it was such a weird tournament. But that'll do it for VNL as of tomorrow. No show next week. We'll be back 2 weeks from today, and it is Olympic season, boys and girls. Our first real Olympics together, Everett. It's going to be a big one.
True, because we started the 9x9 right after the last Olympics, and I did not watch them because I was in a volleyball depression. But so this time, this one's guaranteed to be better.
Well, hopefully it's guaranteed to be better for my United States men as well. All right. Enjoy the volleyball, boys and girls. We'll see you tomorrow for VNL report cards. Get in the Volleyball Source Discord. Links in the description. Keep an eye out for Daddy Stankovic, and wish Everett a happy Canada Day in the chat. You goofball.
Bye.
Peace.